So today I choose a question from Victor. And Victor essentially asked what are the cost factors in implementing and maintaining Data Vault 2.0, Data Vault 2.1 now, right? And yeah, I in the beginning I thought, okay, what even should I really tell you guys here? I mean, it's really dependent on the project. So every project is different. Every project has different requirements, and therefore different costs attached to it, right? But I want to go a little bit through it. What are the typical costs you have with a data vault project? What are some maybe best practices or things to think about? And what is maybe also different from Data Vault 2.0 to other classical data warehouse projects? And yeah, I think the first part you should look at is a little bit how does a typical project looks like, right? Like I said, every project is different. Some projects maybe just do a migration and already have something in place. Other projects start really with a whiteboard, right? And nothing there. But in general, I think the first part should always be do some training, right? Get your team trained, get the people who should work with Data Vault trained. I mean, it's a little bit of work up front and also some cost up front, but in the long run, it will for sure benefit you and yeah, it will save you a lot of costs in the long run because your team doesn't do wrong stuff in the implementation. So this is for me always the first step you should do. Get some training done, learn Data Vault, how to use it, and then you can really start going into your projects. Then you need to do some requirements analysis. I mean, probably more a smaller part, maybe 1 or 2 days, um, where you really dive deep into what are the requirements to my new data platform I try to build or to my data vault project I want to start. What are maybe use cases we want to implement? What does the architecture need to do to really fit our requirements? So you need to do some requirement analysis in the beginning. Then for sure the setup. You will need to set up the architecture initially. The platform, the automation needs to be ready and in place. Oh, there's a typo. You should already put in some standards, right? Define some standards for your project. How do you want to do stuff? What are the naming conventions you want to use? What are maybe some development standards you want to use? Because this stuff really helps in the long run, right? Do it in the beginning, it will help in the long run. And then after that, we will start with the trace a bullet approach, essentially. So we make an end-to-end flow. We start with really with a use case or um, a data product that really delivers value. So we want to, in the best case, really start with your core data products in your company and build a dashboard really quickly, right? So we take a dashboard, we look which data sources do we need, we implement those through the whole process. So staging, raw vault, business vault, information mart, and really try to deliver business value early. And I think this first tracer bullet sprint normally is a little bit longer because it's your first real end-to-end development, right? You will try the architecture that you built before. You will make a lot of technical adjustments and really try to make the basis right. So the first sprint normally takes a little bit longer, but after that you can really start going, right? Sprint for sprint, try to add some business value. And I think a often overlooked topic, I talked about it before here at Scalefree, is cost optimization, right? I have a short slide about this later as well. I think it's a really huge topic, especially with now cloud technologies nowadays, where you have a lot of options to monitor your cost and really improve your cost in the end. But I think these are like the basic points that you do in every project that will cost money. How long it takes, how big these cost factors are, this you can't really say it in general for every project, right? It's always a little bit different. Really quick to the just really quick to the tracer bullet approach. What we do, we don't build the data warehouse layer by layer, how you did it maybe in the past, right? You model the whole normalization model and then try to implement it. This is not what we do. We build it report for report. So because in this, if you build it layer for layer, it will take a long time to really deliver business value. But I think this concept should be clear to most of you who follow Scalefree. What we do is, like I said, we look at one report, for example, the sales report. We look what data sources do we need, and we start with that and build the whole process. Why do we do this? We want to deliver business value early, so the business people really see what they are spending money for, right? Especially when we talk about cost factors in Data Vault 2.0. And you can really test your architecture early and then try to deliver business value early and often, right? Every sprint, essentially, or every 2 sprints at least, you want to deliver some new business value. So what are the big cost factors, right? We just talked about the process a little bit. I think the biggest cost factor that you will always have in every project are, in the end, probably the people. So you need some developers, people maintaining the project. You will need people who make requirements analysis with the business. You will need people who maybe optimize stuff in your data warehouse, right? So I think people is always the first thing that comes to mind when talking about costs with a IT project like this. The second part for sure is the architecture. I already talked about it. Depending on where you are, on premise or cloud, you will have compute cost, you will have storage cost, you will maybe have some ETL and other costs regarding to work really your data architecture, right? Your data platform that you have in place. And the last part is tooling. There we talk about automation, governance, or project management tools. I think in general, tooling can be pretty open source based as well. And even the architecture, I think we have a webinar about that actually, if you're interested in that. So you can reduce the cost there. I mean, for example, dbt Core is a really good tool. It is really powerful, and I think yeah, it gives you a huge benefit. Other part is automation is something that I think shouldn't be only on the cost side of things, but it's also one of the big benefits of Data Vault, right? Because you can automate and develop much quicker, and you don't need so much developers and people really implementing the solution because you automate it a lot, right? It gets much cheaper on the people side, so you save here, um, and therefore maybe you spend a little bit of money on automation. But I think it's a really big benefit of Data Vault 2.0, and it's a big factor for cost as well. So I wanted to highlight that as well. I already talked a little bit about cost optimization. I had a webinar, I think it's already some time ago, before on that. And yeah, I think it really gets overlooked a lot. And I think especially when you start a new project and talk about cost optimization or cost of this new project, you should think about it early. What does that mean? Or what should you even do with cost optimization, right? I think the first part is define responsibilities early and essentially for every instance. What do I mean by that? Oops. You should have data owners or owners in general. It doesn't just need to be data owners, but there should be some person responsible for every instance in your data platform in the end. And whatever costs money, right? Especially in cloud tools, you have, for example, Snowflake, you have warehouses that you can start and keep running, and there should just be owners attached to these things, right? If you just open them and nobody feels responsible for this, it will grow, it will get bigger and bigger and cost money, right? So you should try to get responsibility early and really define responsibility for everything that costs money, right? Somebody should be responsible. Set end dates. I think that is also often overlooked actually. With reporting solutions, right? You build some really nice reporting solution, because yeah, a lot of questions about this. People want to have it. You build it, and then after half a year or a year, nobody really uses it anymore. Sorry, guys. And yeah, maybe it's not even needed anymore. Maybe it was just a reporting for one time thing. They wanted to analyze the market for a new product, but they don't need it every year, right? Or update it daily or something like this. So really have a look if you can end date stuff. So how long do you need this report? If you still need it after 1 year, we will ask you 1 week before we put it off or something. right? And like this, you can really save some compute storage cost and keep your project in control, right? A dashboard that nobody uses just uh, takes up storage, takes up compute, and nobody needs that. So setup end dates, I think it's often overlooked and never talked about. Use tags, especially in cloud databases. Nowadays, you can essentially add tags, which is like a documentation feature kind of to everything. And you can see that in cost monitoring as well, right? You can look for costs for certain tags. You can customize these tags, and yeah, it's really, really powerful. For example, you could have a tag sales if it's the department, and then tag every sales report, every sales warehouse that is used, sales tables even to this tag, and then analyze the cost per department, and all this stuff, right? You could even work with development tags, kind of, to get some responsibility there as well. So there are so many different options you have with tags, but you should use them. And then define a purpose, right? It's a little bit with end date. Who wants to use it? What is this used for? What we are building? Is there really a business value for that? So there should be a purpose attached. Yeah, and in the end, it's all about gaining control, right? Especially in cloud databases, a lot of times people just start building stuff and don't think about cost or yeah, what is in the background even. And yeah, something is running slow. I just open a new warehouse and I give it, I don't know, XL and let's go, right? Which is a nice feature, but you should have some cost monitoring and optimization in place. Really quickly, 9 best practices. Involve the stakeholders really early in this cost monitoring. They should understand their role in cost management and also understand what kind of costs are related to their data products. It's a lot of time they just ask for a report, and they don't even know what this costs in development, how long it takes, how much work that even is. So yeah, involve them early. Set up budget alerts when something costs too much, or yeah, you reach certain spending limits. You should have some alerts in place. Um, use tags for resources. I just talked about it. Um, create some dashboards. These, especially in cloud tools, you have these all these features to analyze your cost and monitor your cost. Use them. Build some dashboards where you can see it easily, where someone can control it easily. The same goes for usage tracking, right? Try to track who uses resources and who's responsible for them. Are these dashboards really used still? Um, Review allocation. So you should really take a look at what you monitor, right? And you should talk about this stuff as well and adjust it, right? Maybe there's a really, really important dashboard where you have a way too low budget spending limit and you should put it up a little bit. And another report is really expensive, but the usage is really low. So maybe you should change it and you should review that, right? The same goes for queries. Monitor these and try to optimize them. Bad SQL code you see a lot and it costs a lot of money. Optimize your warehouses, right? In especially in cloud platforms, and optimize your storage as well. And there are different options for that. I mentioned some in the text, right? Auto suspend, I mean, should be a given. Zero copy cloning in, for example, Snowflake is really, really powerful. Transient tables as well. With that stuff, you can really work, especially in pipelines as well. So have a look at that. Think about the Pareto principle. I think it's really interesting with actually cost saving and in general cost optimization. Sometimes just the top 20% example, for example, of your long running queries, right? Um, they maybe already account for 80% of the cost. So sometimes you just need to improve a small part of your data warehouse, but the benefit will be really, really huge. So think about that when optimizing, because normally it's just a few long runners or stuff like this that really cost money and go into your compute costs, right? And then in general, I talked in the beginning about it, right? What is what are the costs attached to a data vault project and then maintaining it. I think a lot of that is pretty similar to other data platform projects, but there are some parts that really stand out with data vault that really help you to reduce the cost. And I think the first one is for sure the automation part. I talked about it before. Because of the standard entities you have, you can automate a lot of development part. Not so much of the business rules, right? This stuff you still need to implement, but the raw vault, what you will there can be automated really well, and it brings a huge benefit and time saving, and therefore cost saving. Agile development, because the model is so extendable, it makes it really easy for us to build report for report, right? And really focus on delivering business value early and be agile, right? And this will save you a lot of cost and refactoring as well. So I think this is really nice. And the last part for sure is auditing and compliance. With Data Vault, we have built-in GDPR solutions. We have full historization and auditability through the whole data warehouse. And I can tell you in the long run, you will prevent some audit or legal issues when using Data Vault. And yeah, there are huge benefits in that regard as well. And you can save some money there as well. Sadly, like cost factors in implementing and maintaining Data Vault, I hope I mentioned everything. I mean, it's really hard to put just a number or something behind it because every project is different. There is no general number how much a data vault project costs, right? This is just not the reality out there. But I think that was clear in the beginning when this question was asked from Victor. But I hope I could give you an overview about important topics regarding cost in data vault and also some insights to cost optimization. Like I said, if you have any questions you want to be answered in this session, feel free to visit our website and submit them there. If you have any questions regarding cost optimization or data vault project and maybe want to have a first analysis of your project and what could be the costs, feel free to reach out. So thank you very much for joining me today. Next week, Michael is back, I think. No promises here. But yeah, have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Thank you very much. And see you soon. Bye bye.